All right, I think I have a fully charged battery, so we'll see how long that lasts. Where were we up to before we were so rudely interrupted? Was the tea dyed. This is how it looked at the end. I just did find a fussy cut teapot and glued it in and left this tea-dyed tea bag bit here. And then, unbeknownst to me, the video had finished, but I kept going. So I also did shade. And I found this on the desk, and I thought this looked kind of like a window blind. So beneath here we have some mushrooms, and I found some more mushrooms to go in this pocket here, because mushrooms grow in the shade, right? And then I added a little bit of a shaded watercolour onto this to make a pocket. Tuck, tuck. Then after shade comes poetic. I'm a bit behind because we have had workmen in the laneway next to the house. You can possibly still hear them there redoing the footpath. So we've had just days of jackhammering and frazzle. Didn't really make anybody feel very poetic. All right, look what my poetic page was. Really, really in your face, kind of leery. Didn't make me feel at all poetic. It's another one of those prompts that's quite difficult, but I thought really for me journaling is often about taking, the mess and chaos of life and focusing in and just spending time with myself to let all that stuff, percolate, dissipate, keep what you want, let go of what you don't want, and then condense it down into something on the page. So this is a really good example of sometimes how my head feels. And what I need to do first of all is to actually make it less busy. So I'm going to glue, oh look, there's a little dragonfly on that. I'm still just using what scraps I find lying on this desk. So this is one of those dotty pages I pulled out earlier, and I've torn the noisy black dots off the edge, leaving only this little dragonfly. You'll see here with the lovely purple, I thought I might be able to watercolour or somehow colour over this to make it less loud and busy. But I wasn't really happy with how that happened. Happened. Wasn't really, didn't help much, just darkened it. So I thought, seeing as this was a tuck from the previous window shade, I'll just do that and cover it with a nice whale. I don't know, poetry to me, poetic, is like peaceful and calming and I thought I'd show you the sort of thing I like to do. This is a journal I've had before junk journaling. This was a reading from a book I love to look at in the morning. Anything is subject for a poem. The sages say quite seriously that those who wish to know Tao better should cultivate the poet in themselves. I'm not going to read the whole thing out. You can stop it and read it. But it's quite beautiful. And so this little book became me trying to condense my feelings of the day. So this is in 2022. Surrounded by towers of beautiful books. You still have to actually do the work. Might have been after I went on a buying spree for junk journaling. When the weather matches my mood, enjoy it. So obviously this is just a very quick sketch before bed usually, and I'm trying to summarise how I feel. I don't know how poetic it is, but it's certainly short. Autumn approaches. Short and sweet. Choose your own colour palette, that kind of thing. So this is one of the things I like to do in a journal. The other night, last night, I spent some time making these out of scraps. They're just, ready to pop on a page or pop in a pocket. And it occurred to me that this itself is quite poetic to my mind. You're just taking little bits of stuff and turning them into something that's beautiful and useful and makes you happy. So I thought I might try and do that with this page. And to that end, I dug out a heap of papers. These are offcuts of handmade papers mostly. That I thought, and there's look, there's one of those eco-dyed pages I made. So maybe I think I might just do it quite neutral. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue a bunch of stuff down. Maybe that should be a long page. A long page side, you know what I mean. Try not to make more scraps, eh? So let's take all of this jumble of... didn't cover it very well, but sometimes you're still left with I can never cut a straight line. Sometimes you're still left with jumbly feelings. It's going to quite fit, is it? I think this one, being a bit heavier, might actually require a more serious glue job. Don't know if you can hear all those guys in the lane, but they're busy. It's good. We're going to have a new improved footpath instead of the falling to pieces one. Now that might actually... oh, look at that. That's all I have to do. Beautiful. I'll trim that off later or not. So there you go. That's my kind of journaling. So I've left myself, if I want to write a little reminder of something. In fact, we might do it, hey? Let's do it. One of the things I want to start filming is me working in a journal. So here we go. This will be as in a personal journal, not a challenge or anything. Challenge to myself, perhaps. Now, I had actually thought I was going to use this image on here, but it'll cover that up. So let's not. How about instead... look, I nearly broke my pen the other day. Ugh. How about instead we write something? Not quite sure how absorbent this is going to be. Okay. Let each day be a poem. Oops, or a poem. When it's a note to myself, I often just do that. And then I usually also write down what the date is, and what the date really is today is the 31st of July. And I've learned to put the year in because even though at the time I think I'll remember, it's surprising how quickly it becomes, 2 or 3 or 4 years later. So there we go. Take a jumble, make something that calms and pleases you, and move right along. So, for our next effort, almost the last one, we have buttons. Just for a complete contrast between the abstract and the very, very concrete. Buttons. Okay, well, once upon a time, where did I put that? Oh, here. This was, actually, I think these were the first journals I made after these wallpaper ones. And it was, I found a set of 3 unloved art books in the op shop for next to nothing with these beautiful covers. So I made matching journals for me and my sister, and I meant to make one for Q, but she doesn't journal, so I didn't. Anyway, in this, I, on a holiday, went to great lengths and made myself a little button-covered pocket, which I loved at the time, using a lot of beads and just what scraps. I had taken a very small selection of things with me, and I stitched it in later when I got home, but it's even padded with felt or something. And surprisingly, it doesn't, I thought using buttons in a journal would really, make it open, but it doesn't too much. So that was interesting. Now, oh, here. Buttons. Buttons. I don't even know where these came from, but look. Somewhere, probably my cousin's stash again, because these are really not my cup of tea. All these die-cut buttons, which I've never used, but I'm glad I didn't throw them out because they're going to be today's play. So here's some I grunged up earlier, which did improve them somewhat, I think. Let's get much less in your face. Okay, let's just tear this off. Ooh. Nope. Let's cut that off. That is way too tough to tear. So what I thought I'd do with these is actually just glue them as a page edge. And because that's, I still don't like them, but anyway, because that's what I wanted to do. Oh, I don't want them sticking out there. Let's put them on this one. I did them back to back so that when they poke out on here, you won't see this plain white side. So I glued them, and possibly ground espresso was not the right choice for inking because it's very dark, but it's what I had, so it's what I used. And I thought if I just do them like this, they can, probably would have been better if I'd done a dark strip under the page, wouldn't it? Yep, too late for that one. Okay, never mind. Honestly, I'm not that fussed about this idea of buttons anyway. Terrible, isn't it? Oops. So I'm just going to overlap them a bit. Nice to finally use them. I think, however, at this point, these might go in a bag for the op shop because I can't see me ever using them again. Q was watching me put these together while we were having coffee, and she's like, yeah, no. Not something she's ever going to use either. So if anybody would like a stash of paper buttons, let me know. They're up for grabs. Okay, anyway, there is one idea, a page edging. Haven't done it before. I'm really going to have to cut this off now, but that's okay. I can tuck in there like that. Might have made them stick out a little bit far, but never mind. Then the other thing I prepared while I was on a roll with all these paper buttons was a belly band. So this is just an offcut of card, bit of book page, and then gluing and inking a heap more buttons. So I think I do prefer the real button pocket that I made in the other journal, but I didn't want to sit and sew. That would be a very long, drawn out video. So there we are. A page of buttons. Yeah, you know, it used them. I've used them. Doesn't look so bad actually with something underneath it. These ones, I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to like them. I wonder. So these ones I used are layered quite a lot. I wonder if I could add layers to these, or if it just might be over-egging the pudding somewhat. You know, polishing the turd is a phrase we use in glass. Sometimes more is not better. That could improve things fractionally. I think that actually looks better than that great big button. And in fact, if I really wanted to go to town, I could layer the buttons like that. But you know what? I'd rather give them to somebody who wants to use them. So I'm going to call that done. Oh, actually, I did find two other things when I was looking for button-related things. I found some little stickers. Again, not from my pad of paper. The other thing I found was these very cute little buttons which came in a bundle of stuff from the op shop. I think they went with a teeny tiny dressmaking pattern, so I won't use those either, but you know, buttons, lots of options. I'd avoid this one.